Using racism in business during COVID-19. My name is Gilberto Davila, and let's get started. So, I chose this topic because I live myself in an Asian American community in Westminster, California. So, growing up around Little Saigon has brought me to understand my fellow minorities, just the people that I grew up around, to really understand where they're coming from at a time like this when they have been attacked. And when racism comes into play, it just affects everybody around the community, not just Asian Americans, but, Hispanics and Africans, just all of us that give into the community, especially in Westminster around Little Saigon, because we all enjoy each other, cultures, everything. So it's just where we all help each other. And there's just been a racism boom against Asian Americans, struck at the beginning of coronavirus. And it first struck the businesses around us, as early as April 2020 during the beginning of the pandemic. Approximately 59% of Chinese restaurants closed down from completely seizing all credit lines and all operations. And that just makes me sad growing up around them and seeing their businesses not make it, especially in a time when it should be thriving, but just people are choosing not to go. A racism boom correlated with the pandemic, and this is why these family-owned businesses, took a big dive or just closed down completely. For already struggling businesses, people chose not to visit these restaurants, these businesses, because of racist intentions, not because of bad service, but because of racist intentions. As an example, 4 out of 10 Asian American adults receive more public racism due to the start of the pandemic, with issues like screaming China virus at them or Wuhan virus, etc. Just similar stuff as to what people have dealt with in the past. I always say history repeats itself. Maybe not Asian Americans, but as well for them, with the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, the Japanese were ripped from their homes during World War II, how the Germans were blamed for yellow fever or the Irish were blamed for cholera. It's just something that it repeats itself. So one last example I'd like to talk about is an article I read about a family is, they can't even walk outside, like I stated earlier, because people are spitting at them and teasing them. And this affects everybody around the neighborhood or communities, because we don't like to see that, because we grew up around these, families that help build our community. So it just doesn't affect them, but it affects people like me as well, where we have our own businesses that we wouldn't like that to happen to us. So we got to help our Asian American community. So in the end, I believe we can all make it a better place by sticking together and getting through this and stop Asian hate, stop African American hate. Thank you.